Good morning, everyone. This afternoon, I would like to show us how you can create a a virtual saver, how to create a virtual saver in GCP. So we'll see how we'll look at creating an account, creating a GCP account. So we are going to look at creating an account in GCP, an account in GCP. And secondly, we'll look at creating a Linux server in that account, creating a Linux server, in GCP, that is Google Cloud Platform. And thirdly, connecting to the server, to the Linux server via SSH. So that's our task for today. So how do I create a server in GCP, and how do I, connect to that server? So the first thing we are going to look at, we'll try to create a free GCP account. So let's create a free GCP account. So all you have to type here is GCP console, Google Cloud. GCP is Google Cloud Platform. So Google Cloud Platform. I want to log into this server. We'll be connecting to this server as my landmark tech. So now you need a GCP account. So I have a GCP account which I've created already. I have a GCP account which I've created. Or I'll be using that GCP account to connect into this server. So address is in Canada. Now I'm in this GCP account. Let me make sure, yep, I'm in the account. So I need to create a server. How do I create that server? Server falls under compute engine. So click on virtual instances. So we are creating a virtual machine, virtual instances, virtual machine instances, create. So creating a server. Normally it takes a while, creating a server. So now it wants me to explain the kind of organization. I'm going for large, continue. Yep, that's my phone number. Okay, so now it asks for the business name. Let me see. Landmark Technologies. Landmark Technologies. That's the name. Landmark DevOps address. 84. Enter the address. You have to enter your address. That is done. Email. So you need a Gmail account for that purpose. So it's asking for a credit card as well. So I'll just enter my credit card. It wants me to enter my credit card information. So I've entered my card information. Since I've done that, okay, so it wants me to know what brought you to Google Cloud, just to learn and explore. Next, website, apps, move. Okay, so now my Google Cloud account, I've created a GCP account. So I have to enable the uh, the compute engine API. I have to enable this compute engine API. Compute engine is enabling me to create, virtual computers in GCP. So I'm going to click here on enable. So it's going to take like maybe some few seconds to get that sorted. So now I have enabled my virtual machine APIs, which means I can create any virtual machine in my Google Cloud account. So we have been able to create an account in GCP. And after we created that account, since we want to use that account to create our servers, we enable the virtual machine or the API. So that has happened. So now I can create an instance here. So create instance, I'm creating a server is an instance. So let me create a virtual machine. So now in trying to create this virtual machine, you can assign a name to this machine. So I'm going to call this machine Centos 8 demo. So this is Centos 8 demo server that I want to create. This is the name I'm giving to the server. You can assign the name there. Now, the next question is, how much CPU resources do you want to use? I'm going to go for share core, which is 2 vCPU and 1 gig of memory. This is the option I'm choosing. Okay, this is the option I'm choosing. So now, but I'm told that I have $380 free trial credit remaining. But if I use this saver, it will cost me $8 a month. So it will cost me just 380 minus 8. So now let me create this saver. Now I want to change the instance. I'm launching a Centos saver. Centos. Now, Centos is a Linux distribution saver. I'm going to go for Centos 8. Okay, select. I'm creating the saver. The monthly estimate now is $9. That's the monthly estimate. Create. Allow default access. Allow full access to all cloud APIs. So I'll choose allow full access to all cloud APIs. Now, create. I'm creating a CentOS 8 saver. That's what I'm creating now. Okay. The saver is coming up. Saver is coming up. It will take a while. So I've created a saver. And take note, now I am working on Google Chrome browser. I'm using Google Chrome browser. That's what I'm using. Google Chrome browser to create this saver. So now my CentOS 8 saver, demo saver is created. How can I connect to this saver? That's a question. For me to connect to this saver, okay, it gives me the SSH option here. So I'll just come here and click open in browser window. That's what I'm going to choose. Open, this is the saver coming up. Yes, click on connect. I want to connect to this saver. So it's very simple to connect to your saver. So I'm connecting to my saver. So it is connected. It says transferring keys. I see something like connecting. You see that? Transferring SSH keys to the virtual machine. The key transfer to project metadata is establishing connection to SSH server. You can drastically improve your key transfer time by migrating to OS login. So we can equally look at that option. How do you migrate to OS login? You know, it gives you other options that you can use to migrate to OS login. But now, connected. Your virtual machine guest environment is outdated and only support deprecated SSH key metadata item. Please follow the step below to update. Anyway, that's fine. I am in this server now. This is a server. So successfully, we have connected to the server. So this is the server that we created. My email address is my landmark tech. That's my email address, my landmark tech. So I am in this server. You see, we have connected to this server. So now this is my server running in Ubuntu Cloud. So in Ubuntu, I'm able to connect to this server that is running in Ubuntu Cloud. So we have something like this. So this is GCP. We have connected to the server in GCP using the browser. You see that what did we use? We used the browser API. So now for my workstation, how am I connecting to this server? You see that? I have connected to this server using the browser. This is what I use. Okay, now, can I use SSH client? Can I also use SSH client to connect to this server? Can I use an SSH client? Yes, I can. For example, if you want to use an SSH client, it's very possible. But our task was to see how you can create a server and connect to that server. So now we have connected to this server using, okay, SSH client. That's what we have used to connect to this server. So now I am in the server now. So if I want to connect to this server using, you know, an SSH client like mobaXterm, how am I able to do that? This is mobaXterm. This mobaXterm. I have my mobaXterm terminal. How can I connect to this server using mobaXterm? That's one thing we'll need to look at now. This is my server. If I'm going to connect to this server with the help of mobaXterm, okay, I'm in the server. Let's see how we can connect to it using an SSH client. Now, if you want to use SSH client connecting to your server, there are other options we can use. Now, connecting to your server. We have connected to the server using the browser. So we have used the browser. Now, how can we use an SSH client to connect to this server? For us to use SSH client, we are going to need the host information for this server. So for the SSH client, we are going to need the remote host or the host information. So and the host information here that we can use will be the IP address. So let's get the IP. So if I come to this server, I can be able to get the IP of the server. And how can I do that? I just do curl ifconfig.ca. This is the IP address of this server. Now, this is the IP address of the server. So let us check if we have any user for this server. So if we do ls/home, who are the users? I have my landmark tech user. Who am I? So I have a user called my landmark tech. So this is the default user. So now user is my landmark tech. What do I need next? I need password. So I'm going to need password to connect to this server. So I will create a password for my landmark tech. And how do I create the password? sudo passwords, pass wd, creating a password. I've created a password, and my password I've created is admin. So this is my password. I have all this information. So since I have the host information, the user, I can connect to my server. So let's find out how possible that is going to be. So I can run a command like this: SSH, username, my landmark tech, at IP address. So with this, I can connect to my server. So this is what I need to connect to this server. So now, let me try to connect using mobaXterm. mobaXterm is an SSH client. So I've created a password. So this is mobaXterm. I want to connect to my server using mobaXterm. So I want to open the local terminal. Now, this is mobaXterm that I have here. So I'm going to run this command in my mobaXterm. Enter. I want to connect to my server. Now, permission is denied. I can't connect to this server using password, even though I have the right password, but I cannot use that password to connect to the server. You see that? I'm running this command. Permission is denied because this server does not use password. So password authentication is not yet configured. Now, I run it again. This is the command. It says permission denied. So what am I going to do? I need to configure password authentication. So now, let's configure password authentication. So how do you configure password authentication? The first thing, we run this command sudo vi into the etc sshd underscore config and enable password authentication. So this is what we are going to do. Once we are in this file, we are going to enable password authentication. That's what is going to happen. Now, this can be run in any Linux server. So we are enabling password authentication. After we do that, the next thing, we are going to run the command sudo systemctl restart sshd. In Linux, whenever you do some changes in the configuration, you have to restart the service. So now, let's vi into this file. Vi into this file. Okay, it's not allowing me to do sudo vi etc sshd underscore config. Enter. I am in this file. I'm going to be searching for the password line, password, public key authentication. I'm checking for password. Okay, now it says password authentication here is no. So I'll change it to yes, which means I can use a password to access my server. Now, once we do this, the next thing to do is to run sudo systemctl restart sshd. Enter. So we have enabled password authentication. Therefore, I can access this server using my password. If I run this command, enter, it asks for password. That's the password. Okay, it says password wrong. Let me enter it again. Wait a minute. Okay, it's not allowing me type that password. Let me go back. and make sure I enter the password correctly. Sudo password for user my landmark tech. Okay, I've entered the password again. Let me try to access the saver. Okay, it's not letting me. I will run the command, enter password. Yeah, it has accepted my password. So now I am in that saver. So this is my saver in GCP. I have accessed the saver using the browser, and I have accessed the saver using password. Now, this option for you to use password is applicable for all Linux servers. It does not matter whether the server is in AWS or GCP. So thank you so much for following this video. Make sure you go through it and try to configure your server as well in GCP. Have a great day. And once again, this is Landmark Tech, okay? Knowledges. We run IT programs. We train DevOps engineers. And so far, our course is 100% job guarantee program. You can reach out to us on the numbers that you are seeing. Okay. Have a great day. Bye.